Show the guys are talking computer science for education. Got a really cool idea, a project that you could do with your students in class. We got all that and more up next on the EduTech Guys. You're listening to the EduTech Guys, edutechguys.com. Hello and welcome to the EduTech Guys. I'm David Henderson.
Hey, I'm Jeff Madlock.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for checking it out, tuning in, turning it on, downloading, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. Hey, it's been a while since we've been here. Sorry, we've been away, doing things, traveling, seeing things.
Taking care of some personal health stuff.
Eating food. And, hey, listen, catch us on the web at www.edutechguys.com. Heck, just go out to Google, type in EduTech Guys. You'll find us on all social media. It's the @ EduTech Guys.
That's right. Absolutely.
Staring back at you.
Yeah. Hey, so something going on is the computer science for education or in education.
Is it week or month? Or
I think it's all week long.
Heck, for us, it's year, baby.
It is.
It's decade. It's century.
It's all the time.
We have some really cool stuff. We've been working on stuff. We're actually coming to you from our actual workplace because it was easier to knock one out here. If you want to watch the video on YouTube, there's a video out of us doing this in one of our small work areas where we have storage and things like that. It's our storage closet. But yeah, CS for education, computer science for education. It's a big deal. Lots going on, and I don't think people realize what that encompasses. Like when we're talking about computer science, it's not just coding. It's a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's funny to me that in some of the computer science programs that I've been a part of in the past, one of the projects that they had is actually lockpicking, like physical lockpicking. And a lot of that is not teaching, it's not necessarily there to teach the students, how to open locks. I mean, that's part of that. But it's the analytical and logical thinking about what it goes into, when you're trying to get those tumblers to set just right, and how much pressure do you apply, and what are some of the kind of troubleshooting tips and tricks that apply to a myriad of things, not just, picking locks.
Yeah, there's just so much. In fact, next Monday we will be at one of the cooperatives helping run a Rubik's Cube challenge. You're thinking, what does that have to do with computer science? It's all about the thought process, the problem solving. Yeah, that's what it's all about. I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to jump into some stuff and share some really cool stuff with you. We'll be right back after this.
Are you using Soundtrap for personal use, recording podcasts, making music, and more? More importantly, are you using Soundtrap in the classroom? Soundtrap for the classroom is amazing, allowing students the ability to create music, podcasts, audio for their projects, and so much more. Check out Soundtrap now at soundtrap.com.
Awesome, yeah. Love some Soundtrap. The walled gardens thing is phenomenal, where you've got, classrooms protected so that the whole world doesn't come in and listen to what your kids are doing until you're ready to have that happen.
Yeah, and if you'd like to know, I actually edit every show on Soundtrap. That's before we send it out to Anchor. That's what it's done on. Hey, but we're talking about computer science and education. And earlier this week, just coincidentally, David and I were talking about... Actually, I read an article a few weeks ago about Peppermint OS, and I was like, I want to play with Peppermint OS. Wonder if I can put it on a Chromebook. And we have a lot of Chromebooks. So, we have some that have left. They're no longer supported by Chrome OS.
Right.
It's the Lenovo N42-20s. Mm-hmm. We have a gaggle of them, let me tell you. So we thought, hey, let's see if we can load up Peppermint OS on this. And after just in a little reading, a couple of videos, what is it, 20 minutes maybe tops, once we did the actual process?
Yeah, for Peppermint, I'd say it was probably about 20 minutes or so, yeah.
And so then we were like, well, what else could we put on there?
Yeah, so we loaded up Ubuntu. In fact, if you happen to watch the video, the Lenovo that I've got sitting here at the table actually has Ubuntu. I'll just flip it around here so you can see that there. But it's actually running Ubuntu on this Lenovo Chromebook. And we did a little more poking around, and you can actually install a scaled down version of Windows 10
10 tablet kind of thing
on a Chromebook. It's crazy.
Now, excuse me, choked me up.
I know, it's overclumped.
So what's really cool about this is that I was talking, I said, this is a great project for a computer science classroom.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these schools, a lot of your schools that you're listening, you've got some older Chromebooks that are now no longer supported by Chrome OS. You could take an EAST program, Environmental and Satellite Technology Program. I don't know if they call it that anymore. It's just the EAST initiative. You could take that program into your computer science classes, heck, any class for that matter, art, English. Give them some of these. Teach them how to install it. These are open source. Some of them are open source platforms. So they could be creating kiosks for parent night. They could be creating, more usable units once Chrome OS is no longer valid on it. Put Peppermint on it. You've got a browser. You can log into Chrome. You can log into Gmail and everything on it. Really cool stuff, and that gives you a project for your kids to work on.
Yeah, and you can even, we've named Peppermint, which is, I would say, kind of middleweight in terms of the size and the amount of disk space that it takes up. Ubuntu is kind of a behemoth. These particular Chromebooks that we have, they've got 16 gig chips in them.
Yeah, 4 gigs of memory.
And so by the time you install Ubuntu, you only got about 4 gigs of storage left, which on a device this small may not seem too bad. You'd be like, oh, that's plenty. It is in a Chromebook. When you've converted the operating system, 4 gigs, you could eat that up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what Windows is going to take up. We haven't played with that yet. But there are other flavors of OSs out there that are very tiny. In fact, there's one that's called Tiny Linux, and it can install just enough basically to get you up, get you going, and then the rest of it could be storage. I mean, there's all kinds of really cool things that you can do with these devices. Going to get a little techie here, not that we hadn't already, but a little techie just for those tech folks out there, or if you're listening and you want to share this with your tech folks, that a couple of things to be aware of. First of all, you'll have to unenroll it if you've got it enrolled in your device management.
Yep.
So you have to unenroll your Chromebooks, and then you also have to unwrite protect the device so that it'll allow you to change the operating system.
Tell them how you do that.
We're not going to get into that.
Tell them how, though. You got to tell them what you had to do.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Let's do it. We got the time. We have plenty of tape rolling here.
No, and it's one for me because I'm a techie nerd, geek head. I absolutely loved it. So, essentially you have to take all the screws out of the bottom of the device, on this particular device. And then once you get the case off, then in there are a variety of screws that actually hold the system board into the case itself. But one of those screws, not only is it holding the motherboard in place, but it also serves as the write protect screw. So you actually have to take out the write protect screw so that it breaks that connection.
So the ones and zeros can go by.
That's right. So the ones and zeros can go by. You take that out, put the whole thing back together again, and then just in terms of, again, getting a little techie, but you grab the CD image for the operating system, flash that onto a USB stick. There are some other things. We found lots of resources online, and you can too, on how you install the operating system. In fact, it's kind of cool. You kind of have to, you do have to. You have to actually flash the BIOS of the device itself so that it, for all intents and purposes, doesn't know it's a Chromebook. It just thinks it's a regular laptop.
Yeah.
And the BIOS that wish I can remember that.
Mr. Chrome.
Yeah, we got that from Mr. Chrome. And it's actually a neat little thing. It's bare bones BIOS in terms of BIOS, but it gives you exactly what you need. And then later you can actually tell it, hey, I want to boot from a USB, or I'm going to boot from the internal drive, or you just go to town.
Yeah, you can even set up dual boot. So if you wanted to, if you could get it on a Chromebook, you could have Tiny and Peppermint or Tiny and Ubuntu or anything like that.
Well, and in fact, several of the tutorials are how do I keep my Chrome OS?
Yeah, that's right.
And boot to another operating system. So you could actually keep it with Chrome.
Yeah. On the techie end of that, I think this is a really great opportunity for your computer science classroom, because when you start, if you start off taking the machine apart to remove that screw, you got a great learning opportunity for a day or two or 3 days or a week of classes of just talking about the internal workings of that Chromebook, the battery, how the ribbons connect for the LED, for the mouse, for the keyboard, and the whole bit. And the kids will probably really enjoy that. And then, don't even tell them about installing a new OS. Just go into it like, we're going to take these Chromebooks apart and take them apart.
Right.
And then we're going to remove this screw. And what this screw is the Write Protect screw. And here's why we're going to do it. Now we're going to load up a whole different OS on it.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, wait, what? That's so crazy. And some will be like, I don't care. But most of them will be like, hey, it's really cool.
Well, and I'll tell you, one way that you really can get the kids interested in this, and heck, some of you, when I say this, may be like, oh, that's what I'm doing with my Chromebook. Once you install, there's multiple Linux platforms that once you have that installed, then on top of that, you install something like a program called RetroArch, which RetroArch allows you to install retro gaming emulators. So Game Boy Advance, Dreamcast, Nintendo 64,
Atari.
Sega, Atari 2600. Just about any console you can think of, you can actually install into that, and then you can do some searching around, and you can actually find images of those cartridges and then those game files, and you could turn this Chromebook into a portable gaming system. Retro gaming system.
And what's cool is, considering a 256 gig USB 3 flash drive at Walmart is about $16, you've got storage, you can run all those games off of that.
Yeah.
So that's great. You can plug it into most of these Chromebooks. Now, even the older ones have USB 3 on them, so they're going to screen.
Right.
They're going to run that beautifully off of it. So, you can help kids build, hey, here's my 80s gaming retro, my 90s gaming retro USB. I'm going to stick it in.
Yeah.
And when you get into retro, it's not just the games. There's a lot of retro programs out there that you can run. And it would be fun for them to run ClarisWorks and things like that.
Yeah.
But when you get into Unix and Linux and Debian and all that stuff, there's some great stuff out there. And I think you'll really help those kids that think they want to be programmers get a little farther back in the weeds and go, oh, this is how it started and this is where it's going. And you'll find your kids are going to really enjoy that. And there's, like we said, these are open platforms, some of them, OSs.
Right.
So they might go, hey, I coded this app for it, or I did this for it, I wrote this script that reconfigures the F keys on it so that they actually work as volume up and down or things like that. All kinds of stuff can be done with that. So really cool, especially when they try to start plugging in USB game controllers and go, hey, this doesn't work. Well, write the driver for it.
Write the driver for it.
So it's doable.
That's right.
Those people exist. Not this guy, but those people exist out there. Write the driver. Here's a $10. Go make that happen.
That's how I am. I'm more like, let me pay somebody to write the.
Yeah, that's some crazy stuff. But like I said earlier, I think it's really cool because if anything, you can reuse some of your older equipment. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be the Chrome OS is no longer valid on this. Now it can be used for something else. And you do have these devices that you can, if you get 40 of them together for a parents' night that just need to fill out a form, and you can just throw them out really quick, and the kids have already set them up, put them in kiosk mode. There's several how-tos on how to turn these into kiosks where they only run the specific app you want them to. These are things that can go out to church groups, local organizations. The school can give them away and say, hey, here's this. It's got an operating system on it that doesn't cost you anything. It's going to keep working as long as you update it or whatever. And there's the cool part. The kids can update them. It can be a whole program that could last years. And give the students something to do. And they get to work with the community and the teachers and the parents and the whole bit like that. So really cool stuff, man.
It's very cool stuff.
Really cool stuff. I'll tell you what, in the if you're listening to the podcast, in the information, we'll put a few links in there where you can find out where you can download these operating systems and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
So quick show, but we thought we'd get one out for computer science education. We really don't know day, month, week. We knew it was something. We saw it on a billboard.
That's right.
Yeah.
Computer science for education, life.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. Word. I think there's a hand sign for that. I don't know.
I'm sure there is. No. Never mind.
Who knows? Hey, I tell you what, I know it's been a quick show. Please follow us on the social media. Our next big conference appearance will be at FETC in January.
Yeah.
So we'll start pumping that out pretty soon. You'll hear some interviews with some folks that are going to be there. Mm-hmm. And we'll be doing that. If you have some ideas for some podcast guests, write out to us. Contact at edutechguys.com, or just visit the website or visit any of our social media and follow the Linktree link.
That's right.
Hey, listen, it's been a great show. I'm Jeff Madlock.
I'm David Henderson.
We'll catch you next time.
You're listening to the EduTech Guys. EduTechGuys.com.